Welcome back, guys, to the Latarjet Diaries. Today, I'm super stoked for this interview. Thank you for being here. Let's start with a little
Thank you, my brother.
introduction.
Yeah, I'm Marco Vetrano, and I come from Crotone. It's a city in southern Italy,
Mhm.
and I'm a fighter. And I deeply grateful for this opportunity to share my experience with this
Thank you
Latarjet
for being
operation.
here. Okay, what is your age?
I just turned 18 like a few months ago.
18? Wow.
Yeah.
And you have done a Latarjet. Did they say anything about the young age? Because it is pretty young, I think, to
Yeah.
do.
Yes, actually, the surgeon went ahead and I think he did some kind of modification to the actual surgery because I can remember that the day I showed up for the surgery, he had me like he posticipated it because he wanted some different screws to put in my shoulder because of my age. He
Okay.
said something about possibly growth plates still open and that could interfere with like the healing process in some way. So he used different screws.
Is it because you are still growing that that the skeleton is still
Y-
growing?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why he chose that.
Okay. So, and are you still a student or do you already have a job or something?
No, I just graduated from my high school here. In fact, the other day we had to participate because of that. I had my final exams the other day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, so when was it that you did the surgery? I think was it close to mine? I do not fully remember, but
Yeah, I think it was basically like in the same period because I remember when I stumbled upon your channel on YouTube, I remember that we were in the same recovery phase. Mine was on the 20th of October, 2025.
oh yeah, the mine was 14th of October. Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember something like this.
Yeah.
And
So right now it is
it was
about
very nice. It was very nice to find someone in the same situation as me. And I
yeah.
was always trying to I forgot the way to say it, compare
Okay.
my progress with yours. I remember you had some kind of nerve damage or some impediment like that.
Yes.
But other than that, I think that the recovery period was pretty much identical in terms of like time.
Yeah. The reason why I'm super excited for this one is because I'm excited to have a chat with everybody. But you are a fighter, and you are not just
Yeah.
like a boxer. Is you do MMA, right? Or
No,
is that correct?
I do kickboxing to an amateur level. I'm not, of course, a professional yet, or at least not yet. Uh,
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
yeah, I've been kickboxing for 3 years, and I've been doing this in like competing for 2 years in full contact. So it's basically like pretty much the same level of intensity, like in fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the interesting part is that I have a lot of people who are asking me about fighters
Yeah,
because the Latarjet is a surgery that a lot of fighters are doing,
yeah,
and they are just not sure if they will be able to ever fight again. And so this is the
yeah.
reason
I'm
that I
sure.
asked you. Yeah, this is the reason that I asked you to do this podcast, and I'm just curious, like, how are you doing today? Because I think I saw a picture that you were already fighting again.
Yeah, yeah. Right
Tell me how you're doing.
on the eight months mark, I could fight again. I had my first fight after the surgery. What was it? 10 days ago. So it was
Mm,
exactly 8 months after the surgery. And I think it's in my situation, I probably healed a little bit slower than average for some reason. But I believe it's like the average return, expected return time for fighters. And by the way, I'm sure that there's a lot of guys that find themselves in my exact situation. I was. Of course, all contact sports are very prone to this kind of injury. But I can tell you from my personal experience that after injury I got, I injured myself during a fight. And basically, I went to 5 events after that, like supporting my team or doing whatever. And in
mhm.
all of those events, at least one guy got a shoulder dislocated, at least once.
Wow.
And for me, it was crazy PTSD. I was super sensitive to seeing that kind of things again.
Mm.
So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are questioning whether they are able to return, they will be able to return.
Yeah. Can you maybe take me through the like through the process before the surgery? How did it dislocate? How many times? Like, was it full dislocations? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's a very long story. Basically, I think it's subluxated around 10 times because at first it started happening while I was training. And of course, in the beginning, I didn't really have maybe a very good form and I wasn't as strong in my shoulder. Subluxations kept happening, and I didn't even know that they were subluxations. I just thought it was shoulder problems because
Hmm.
I would feel a very weird feeling in the shoulder, followed by pain for a few days, and then I would be back to normal. So I just kept training over it. And eventually it actually reduced frequency. And I think it's because maybe my technique got better or something like that. Maybe even the surgeon told me that since I had at least a lot of muscle surrounding the shoulder, it prevented it from happening over and over again, a protection or something like that. So whenever it happened, I just walked it off and never really questioned it that much until I had a fight on the 20th of June 2025 it was. And during the fight, like in the third round, during an exchange clinch, you know what it is? Yeah,
Hmm.
basically the other guy tried to clinch with me while I was throwing the punch, and my arm jammed up in a very weird way, and I could feel the worst sensation ever in my shoulder. I remember the other dude, he was like, he was scared of what happened because the first thing I remember is seeing him like very scared. He had his eyes wide open. The referee called out a pause. I looked down and I could see this bone right here. I don't know how it's called, like the clavicular bone or something like that. It was super exposed because my arm was like down here, and I
Yes.
could see all the muscles spasming like this. It was super ugly experience, but somehow I managed to. The doctor had tried to. Sorry, the referee had tried to call the doctor, but the doctor was
Hmm.
like a fat lady sitting 50 meters away,
Hmm.
and by the time she came back, I had come to the ropes, and instinctively I put the ropes under my armpit. I pressed down, and the shoulder got back in place. And I kept fighting for 30 seconds until the fight ended. And I even won. I won that fight because I was
Really?
already winning. Yeah. And yeah, after that, it was a little bit of hell for a long period because I had to wait a lot of time to get the surgery. I had to wait 4 months to get the surgery. No, was it? Yeah, 4 months to get the surgery. Yeah, it
Uh,
was experience.
was it painful to put it in?
No, at the time, it was just a very weird sensation. I panicked a little bit because for some reason, I couldn't move my hand and I couldn't move my fingers while
Hmm.
it was out the socket. But then it wasn't very painful in that instant. Maybe it was because of the adrenaline or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was painful after, I can tell you that.
Okay, so I think it's nice that you won the fight. That is like a boss.
Yes,
But what like what happened after that?
it was a very distant place. It was in Catania, so it's like a 5 hour ride from my city. And I remember
Hmm.
the car ride back was excruciating because I could feel a lot of pain in my shoulder. And then for a week or something, it was very painful to move the shoulder or something like that. But after that, it calmed down. I didn't At that time I didn't even know what happened
You didn't go to the
specifically.
hospital?
No, at the after the fight I did not go to the hospital. I went to the hospital
Wow.
like a week after, back in my city, just to
Okay.
figure out what happened. And the worst thing was I remember the doctors telling me what had happened. They did a test to me, the one where they have you lying down and they
Yeah.
your hand like this,
Yes.
and the doctor could tell what happened. They told me basically that if I ever want to fight again, I had to get surgery.
Wow. Did they take a picture to check your like a CT scan to check your bone loss?
Yes. Yeah.
How was that?
They did. No, that was after actually, because I went to private hospital, because by going to the public hospital here, it takes a whole lot of time.
Hmm.
And the surgeon that did the operation to me had asked me to do like, I don't know how they're called in English, some scans with X-rays probably, and an MRI. An MRI, I had to do an MRI.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And then so
yeah,
go ahead, bro. Go ahead, sorry.
I was saying like it came out that there was a lot of bone loss, and that was actually causing the subluxation.
And then like he told you like you have to decide whether you are going to do the Latarjet or the Bankert, or did he say like you have to do the Latarjet immediately?
No, he was immediately saying to me that I had to do the Latarjet, because it's like the most common surgery for this kind of patients.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And you decided straight away like okay I'm going for this one or
Yeah, it was very hard, because I was pretty confident about doing the surgery in the beginning, but then I saw myself like I was healed in the period during which I was waiting for the surgery. I was still active. I could do basically anything. Just the only thing that I couldn't do was like maybe throwing punches or super fast action movements. Only that was something I was afraid of doing. And
I
then,
think
yeah,
yeah.
tell me.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think it is the same like me. I was also able to do a lot of things. Like for me, doing pull-ups was a little
Yeah,
painful, and when I was doing like a smash movement, I would have subluxations. But other than that, I was able to do everything.
yeah, me too. Me too. I was doing pull-ups, push-ups, dips, all sorts of things. The only thing was doing this kind of sports.
Yeah, and I think I understand the feeling that you were like, I'm doing good. I don't like really need the
Yeah.
surgery. But then at the same time, you were probably like, yeah, but I love to fight. And if I want to fight, I have to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think all the fighters that experience this feel at the moment when they have to decide, because I believe a lot of them actually decide to just quit the sport because it's very hard to get back to their level after such an injury.
Yeah, yeah. So what? So you did a surgery. I'm curious, what was the protocol that you received from the surgeon?
I was in a sling for 20 days or something like that. And then I had to start doing the therapy, not therapy, sorry, rehab. I had to do rehab for a lot of time. I remember that internal rotation, I believe it's called, like the one you
Yes.
do like this, was the one that took most time, because he explicitly said that I shouldn't try to recover that range until a certain amount of time had passed. 2 months or 3 months, I couldn't train external rotation. And it was super bad, because I remember that at the time I couldn't keep my arms up like this. And I was constantly doubting, like, will I ever be able to keep
Hmm.
my guard up again and
Yeah.
or throw a punch again? Yeah. And fortunately, it came back. That's some good news I have for anyone that wondering whether they can come back after this injury. It's just if you give it the right amount of time and you follow what your surgeon and what the people that are following you tell you to do, at some point you will heal just as strong as you were before.
I think it's interesting that it was like 2 or 3 months before you were able to train like the exo rotation. That is pretty long, I think, compared to mine.
Yeah.
But how is it now? Can you like the camera is a
Yeah.
little, but can you maybe show like what you were able to do in terms of exo rotation?
I can, like, I think I recovered like something like 80, 85, maybe 90% of the external
Can you do it like
rotation.
this from the side?
Yeah.
That looks pretty
Is
good,
it?
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit less if I do it like this. I think it's the most noticeable compared to the other one. But other than that, it's pretty functional. For the needs I have for my sport are satisfied. I can throw punches, keep my guard up, and do all of that stuff again.
Yeah. That's interesting because I had some nerve damage, right? And I tried some boxing, and if I have to keep my guard up, I can feel that for like the one that had surgery, I feel that it's getting like easily tired. Do you have the same
Yes.
or?
Yes, especially in the beginning when I came back to training, I could feel it got tired a lot quicker than the other one, of course, because it lost a lot of muscle tone, all that, and especially because actually mine is the worst case scenario because it's the anterior shoulder because I had the surgery on my right shoulder, but I'm left-handed, so this shoulder has to stay in more of a seated position to keep my guard up compared to the one.
Yeah, and you
So
also give you give jabs with the right.
yes, I don't know. You glitched for a second.
Oh,
I see you freezed for a second. I don't know what happened.
I'm back, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, sure, you're back.
Okay, so the one that had surgery, is that the one that you were giving jabs with all the time?
Yes,
So
yes,
that
and
is even more exhausting.
yeah, and
Mhm.
especially most of the subluxations came from jabbing for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe like theoretically they should come when you do some weird swing emotion, but most of them happened when I was jabbing.
Interesting. Okay, so like, can you take me through the rehab process? What, like, I heard that it was a little intense for you, but did you have any big struggles, or was it just like some patience and some time? And
Yeah, yeah, it's the patience, of course, was probably the most important thing to get me to the process because I feel like I lack a lot of the patience that was needed. So
Mhm.
because I was constantly, I was frantic to come back. Yeah, I wasn't very patient, and I think that backfired in some occasions because in some occasions it happened that I I did so much rehab exercises that I got contractions. Sorry, not contractions. Like I don't know how they're called in English. Like when one of the muscles gets
cramps,
like
or?
yeah, not cramps. Like one of the muscles gets super inflamed and you cannot
Oh yeah,
move,
yeah, yeah.
or yeah, that happened pretty often to me. So I had to take some pauses each and every time,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was very frustrating. But most importantly, it was the mental part because again, I was constantly wondering whether I could come back or
So you were just overdoing, and by that you had like inflammation, and you had
yes,
to
yes,
take it easy. How did you deal with the mental part? Because I speak a lot about this, and sometimes I think like maybe I am speaking too much about the mental part, but everybody is dealing with it, and everybody is dealing with it in a different way. How was it for you?
no, absolutely. I believe you do very well when you speak a lot about it because it's the most important thing, in my opinion, when you have to come back from an injury like this. I think for me it was very hard, especially when I was in sling and I couldn't move, and I think I had some sort of depression for a little
Mhm.
bit, and yeah, that's like 90% of it. If you lose your mental part, you're done.
Yeah. But so, how did you deal with it? Did you spend time gaming, or did you do some walking, or what was it like?
Yeah,
Something specific that you were doing, or?
no, absolutely. I think I just tried to numb myself as much as possible. I was constantly on my phone. It's not something I recommend doing. Absolutely, it's probably better if you like trying to find some other thing to distract yourself. But I was constantly like playing video games or on my phone, just because if I let my mind run too much, eventually I just uh, broke down or something like that. It's not like I cried, but I got very depressed by thinking about my situation. So I was constantly like, I think the term now is brain rotting. Kids say
Mhm.
brain rotting. Yeah,
Yeah. I
that
mean,
was
that's
my way
okay.
of dealing with it.
Yeah, that is okay. Like for me, like I'm 32 years old. When I was 19 years old, I was like in jail for 1 month and a half. And for
Damn,
me,
really?
yeah. And I learned in that experience that if they take away my freedom because I was locked in right, it's like one of the hardest things for me that I wasn't able to do anything. I could not communicate. I had no cell phone. I had nothing. And for me,
But you
this
totally
pros,
don't look like someone that went to jail. Like you look
yeah,
like such a kind person.
yeah, I was just lost. But for me, like being in the sling or being in the situation of the Latarjet, it remembered me of that time because when I was in jail, I also had to be patient. There was no other choice. I had to be patient and I had no idea when I would get out, right? And so with the Latarjet, it was kind of the same. It was just, I had to have patience. And because I was in jail, it felt like I had more patience because I went through something like that in the past in a different way, but it was something similar for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine it feeling the same. But how did you go to jail? What was the reason?
Yeah, I used to be a soccer player. And just like you, I was very driven, very ambitious, and like I had potential to become a professional, but my values were not really like good. I was not an honest person. I was like focused on money and women and all of that. And yeah, I eventually thought it was cool to sell drugs and make some money on the side. And yeah,
Oh,
long story short, I ended by belonged. And for me, it was
yeah.
a good experience in the sense that it's really changed my life. It gave me a shock experience, and I was like, I'm never going to be here again. And that was like the switch for me.
Yeah, that's crazy to hear. Also, I know a lot of people that I think ended up in your same situation, like where I live. So
Mhm.
yeah, I can't relate, but it's a very interesting thing to hear.
Yeah, and I think you are in an interesting position too because you are a very young guy, man. You're 18 years old. You are like
Yeah.
into kickboxing. You've done a surgery. This is intense. If I had to do the surgery at your age, I would have probably lost myself because I was not very strong here in the mind, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. Uh, it definitely was very hard, and also like the discipline aspect of it, like having to go through the same routine every day of doing the same exercises every day and maybe not seeing any result from doing them. That's just that's I think comparable to being in a jail cell and not knowing
Mhm.
when you're going to be free.
Yeah, I'm like 100% sure in your case, in everybody's case, but definitely also in your case, that it has like this whole process, it has affected you in a way. It has helped you to become mentally stronger and it has learned you, maybe also subconscious, but it has learned you that with time and patience, things can get better, right? And
Of
so
course.
I am wondering, do you remember when it really started to get better with you? Because in the beginning it is like ups and downs, but then in my case, there came a point that I was really going up all the time. Do you remember how long that
Yes.
took for you?
Yes, I can relate to this because it happened to me too. It was somewhere, I believe, right at the 5 months or, yeah, around 5 months after the surgery. I hit like a super acceleration in progress, and I could feel my shoulder being looser day by day and feel it stronger and more coordinated fast.
Yeah, I think this is like very important what you are saying because I get really like, I do get a lot of messages on social media and people all are like always afraid that they will not get better. And they are speaking about, yeah, it is 1 month post surgery, 2 months post surgery, 3 months, and I'm not like fully recovered yet. And like you are saying to me, like that it took 5 months before you had like this super acceleration. And I think this is something
Yes.
that I really want people to understand that sometimes it just takes a little longer, but then suddenly you make like 100 like acceleration, like you say.
Yeah, you said for some people it's even a little bit earlier. So I believe it's for someone that's in the early phase of this process, sorry. I believe it's very important to hear that at some point we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, if we can say it like this. It's very
Yes.
helpful, in my opinion, for them to hear this.
Yes. And yeah, maybe you can, because there are a lot of fighters that are really insecure and in fear. And I can understand because, like, in your head, there is like always a chance you will not be able to fight again. Like, what would you say to those people? Like, if somebody like, should I do this really, like, your experience, what would you say to those people?
Well, I would definitely ask them about the context, sorry, because for some people, maybe they do this kind of sport as an hobby or just like something, the spare time. And for them, I think it's something optional. Like if you want to keep doing this, you have this trade-off of giving up 5 months of your freedom. But for people that are aspiring to get a job out of this sport, of course, you have to do it. You must do it because if you don't, another subluxation or another dislocation are like behind the door. For those people, it's not optional. You either do it
Yeah.
or quit.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would do it again. Also because in my situation, it got to the point where I could still do basically everything, but once it happened that, and actually I should have mentioned this earlier because it was very important. One night while I was sleeping, I sleep in a very weird position, like with my arms like this, and I woke up with the feeling of my shoulder dislocated. And that was like something that made me think, even if I don't want to pursue this as a career, I have to do this because otherwise. But this happened very later in the waiting period, so it doesn't take away from what I said in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, even with the nerve damage, and I'm very lucky that it really recovered good. But for me, I would do it again, like directly, because I feel stable. I feel strong. I have not the feeling that it would dislocate again. Do you have the same?
Yes, totally. I feel it being super stable. The only thing that still is a little bit weird for me is that if I try to apply force in certain weird angles, like not everyday life angles, I still can feel a little bit of pain in the rotator cuff. That's the only difference from the other shoulder. But other than that, it's healthy, it's functional, everything else.
Yeah. Do you have the feeling that you are able to go all in kickboxing, like with the punches and stuff?
Yeah. The last fight I had, the one I had like 10 days ago, I can tell you that I wasn't thinking about the shoulder as much as I thought I would be. I was just letting things happen. I was like flowing as I did before. I wasn't preoccupied about it coming out again.
Yeah, so I read the moment that you are not constantly thinking about the shoulder is the moment that you are like fully healed because you trust your body again. And this is a very big process that happens in the brain. Like if you had the surgery, like after the surgery, your brain is somehow still programmed to protect your shoulder because it thinks that it's going to dislocate again. And whenever you are like not experiencing these thoughts anymore, like you had in your game, in your boxing match or kickboxing match, that is the moment that your brain is like, okay, it's safe again for me. And that is the moment that you are like, the surgeon said that you are healed or like fully recovered at that point.
I totally agree with you. I think I saw the same video where you heard this. Was it like a surgeon, a black surgeon saying this? Because I think I saw the same video where this guy was talking about this.
And I don't know if I made a video about this, but I have no idea if it was this person. But it's possible. It's possible. But I find myself in a position like you. I don't think about it anymore. And for me, it's also saying to myself, okay, this means that I am back. And that is
Yes, eventually it happens. Eventually you start feeling free again and you don't think about your shoulder anymore.
How many times did you do physio in the week?
For me, my surgeon was very insistent on me doing it only 3 times a week for some reason. I don't know. I think the standard protocol is more times a week, the better. But my surgeon, especially in the beginning of the healing process, he was like, "You must do it 3 times a week, otherwise it will take more time." Maybe it was because of my personal situation.
Yeah, but my mine said like that 2 times is enough. So 2 times per week is more than enough. He told me, but because I had nerve
Yes,
damage, I did four. I had a private physio 2 times, and I went to the hospital also to do 2 sessions. So that was four. But I think three is quite a lot. And then you probably also did like exercises at home, if
yeah.
I am correct about that. Yeah.
Yes, after the initial phase, I started doing something at home, especially when when it started feeling a little bit better. I would do something at home, but I think that's where I screwed up because not having someone supervise me, I think I did too much every time just because I was not patient.
Yeah.
So for the people listening, I say just be careful. Don't overdo it.
Yeah. And I think I have no idea if that is correct what I'm saying, but I have done some boxing and I have done some boxing and I have done some kickboxing. And for me, when I do these trainings, I'm always like overdoing. For me, I burning like 1,200 calories in one session. And for me, like the day after, my body is like dead. Like I
Yeah.
need to recover. And I think maybe you also have like this mentality because you are doing it all the time that you also like overtrained your shoulder after the surgery.
Yes, and I was also aware of of the possibility of this happening, also because the guy that was helping me through rehab told me specifically, don't overdo it, be careful, be patient. And I just overdid it the same just because it was my bad.
Yeah. Did you take like any supplements or did you eat specific food or like to accelerate the healing? Or was it something that you were doing?
I don't know. I never take supplements. I've always been very like obsessed with my nutrition. I have this app that's called Chronometer, if I'm not mistaken, that like tracks all the calories, the macros, the vitamins, and the minerals of food.
Mhm.
And I always try to hit all of those benchmarks for each one. I think
Nice.
that helped me a little bit, but I didn't
Yeah.
take any supplements.
Okay, that's nice. You cook yourself?
No, fortunately, I have my Italian mama and my Italian nonna that cook for me every day.
Nice. Italian kitchen.
Very
I like it.
nutritious Italian meals.
Nice. Okay. Is there something else that you want to share with the audience, with the people? Maybe things that I have not asked you, things that you want to share with people who are doing the surgery, or maybe some tips or tricks that you want to give?
I don't know. I probably would have to think about it a little bit. I think it really depends. By everyone probably has a very different experience with this kind of surgery.
But to
We
the
said
fighters, you would
before,
say, go ahead,
what?
sorry.
Sorry, no, I couldn't hear you.
Towards the fighters, you would probably say, don't stress too much about it. And if you really want to
Yeah.
keep fighting, just do it and have patience, stuff like that.
Yes. Totally. Totally.
Mhm.
It's the most important thing. Be patient. Don't overdo it like I did, or if you want the optimal recovery time. And I don't know. I think another thing is don't compare yourself to other people too much that are going through the same process, because
Mhm.
in some points of my recovery, I would like stumble online into people being far ahead of me and
Mhm.
thinking, having bad thoughts about this. And I think that also influences very badly your recovery.
That's a great tip. That is really very important. I've also said this many times. And for me, comparison is like always something that I have done in my life because I was a soccer player. And this is something that I had to break off because it kills it kills you in the mind. It's that not good. So
Yeah,
great,
I
great
think
tip.
you should also try to, instead of focusing on others, you can still focus on yourself. Because for me, of course, I had very little energy during all this time period because, as I said, I wasn't mentally very prepared for this. but I still could do a lot of things that helped me get better as a person or as a fighter. Like I could still, I don't know, train mobility or train my legs or my kicks. And another thing is I had a lot of time to study other professionals and study fights, study the theory behind the sport.
Nice.
That's something you
Nice.
can invest your time in while you have this setback.
Yeah, I think this is also a very great tip. This is also something that I would recommend to people. Mental preparation, just prepare yourself with things that you can study or things that you can do. And in your case, studying other fighters. I think that's super nice. So yeah, great tip. Is it okay for you if I put your Instagram or something like that in the video
Yeah, of course.
description? Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Of course. That would be nice.
Yes. Is there anything else that you want to add? Yeah, and once again, if people have any more questions, I will put the link of Graham in the description, and then you can just send him a message.
Yeah, that
My
would
brother, I
be
really enjoyed this
nice.
conversation.
Thank you. I did too. I think I spoke maybe too much, I believe.
Totally not. Totally not. I was really looking forward to it, and I have asked you a few times, and you were kind of busy. You're a busy person.
Yes.
But I'm very grateful that you managed to make some time for this. And I'm 100% sure that people will like it. They need to hear it. And you did not speak too much. Sometimes I think that I speak too much.
No, I
Thank
actually
you very
wished
much.
you spoke a little bit more because at some points I was wondering if I was speaking too much. But
No, bro.
another thing is that I was sure that there were a lot of people that needed to hear this, and I'm very sorry that I had to participate this but it was very busy week, so that's also my bad.
No, man, congratulations once again that you have passed your exams, and school is super important too.
Thank you.
And once again, I'm just grateful that you made some time to make this happen. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot,
And
brother. Thank you.
I wish you all the best with everything that you do in school. God bless you
Yeah.
with the fighting. I hope that you may stay healthy. And yeah, man, keep me updated about whatever. We will stay in contact for sure.
Thanks a lot. For sure.
Okay, guys, I'm going to end this podcast. Stay a little bit, Marco, before leaving
Yeah,
because it
okay.
has to upload on the thing. Okay, guys, so thank you for watching. Any more questions, let them know in the comment section. And as I said, you can contact Marco. His credentials will be in the description. Thank you and see you soon. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Today, I'm super excited for this podcast with my Italian friend. Let's just start straight away. Do you want to introduce yourself, my friend?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm Marco Vetrano. I come from Crotone. It's a city in Italy, southern Italy in Calabria. And I'm just super grateful for this opportunity to share my experience with you guys. That's it.
Thank you for being here, man. I deeply appreciate it. What is your age?
I've just turned 18.
18.
Yeah.
By the way, I can hear myself speaking. Am I on, like, do you hear me in your headset or?
Yes, I hear you in my headset. Maybe it's causing some echo. Let me try to. Can you still hear yourself?
Test. Oh, this is better. Yes, this is better. I'm just going.
Okay.
I can still hear. Yeah, no worries. I will start again.